The last few hours have been filled with Twitterati going into a tiz on the revelations about what played out during the time that Twitter decided that they will suppress the story about Hunter Biden's laptop in New York Post. Now, this was so extreme that some very interesting things happened. Now, to understand all this and to get the right perspective, remember, I am politically independent, but this post might make you think that I'm biased in one way, but I'm just merely pointing you the data. Don't shoot the messenger. So here it goes. So what had happened? Let's see right from the beginning. If you remember, Elon Musk said that he was going to buy Twitter sometime around maybe late March, early April. It doesn't matter the exact date, but what matters is that around that time, a blogger, his name is Sagar Enjeti, he had put out a tweet saying, Vijaya Gadde, the top censorship advocate at Twitter, who famously gaslit the world on Joe Rogan's podcast. Now, there is a podcast by Joe Rogan where I think Vijaya Gadde and Jack of Twitter participated, and that's what he's referring to. And then he goes on to say, and censored the Hunter Biden laptop, is very upset about the Elon Musk takeover. So I think this was probably a few days after the announcement, because there is news about her crying to in a meeting and so on and so forth. What my point here is to first of all place the facts in front of you, and then you have to decide whether Vijaya Gadde is going to be in some legal trouble or not. I'm not going to make the decision for you. You will have to make it. So, but I'm just going to tell you a story. We have 6 or 7 links in the description section. Be sure to go through each and every one of them, because the more you read, the more you understand the thinking in some of the social media companies. What we are showing you is just Twitter, but it could very well apply to other companies also. So he puts out this tweet, and then Washington Post, New York Times, everyone jumps on him and saying, you are a racist guy, shame on you for taking on Vijaya. So this one interesting observation was made by Ramesh Kandula. He said, looking at the two names, Vijaya Gadde and Sagar Enjeti, they appeared to be from the same part of India, Andhra Pradesh or Telangana, or the unified Andhra Pradesh, and that one is liberal, the other one is conservative. Now, I don't know what Sagar's political ideology is. I don't want to kind of make an assumption that he is right. You have to look at his videos, and you can maybe look at his Twitter profile to make up your own mind. Again, I'm not judging here. What he says is, this is an especially amusing part of the accusation against me that I unleashed racism against Vijaya Gadde. I mean, you can read the entire tweet for yourself. Again, that link is also provided. What he had said, after this happened, there was a video. And this video, he starts recounting, this is Sagar Enjeti, he starts recounting what played out after that. And in that, he came up with an amazing revelation. He said, Vijaya Gadde made up a hacked materials policy under which she banned Hunter Biden laptop article by New York Post. The policy was changed the same day by Jack. So there was no policy before that. She makes a policy and then uses that policy to ban the New York Post. And this ban was so harsh. I'm going to play you through some more things that happened after that. Both parties, used to use Twitter. And they would say, okay, listen, I don't want this to be shown. Can you please take care of this? And Twitter used to oblige both sides. But as the time went on, one could see that the rank and file, the employees in Twitter, were aligned towards one party. The clinching evidence is to look at the picture here. What is the contributions of Twitter people, Twitter organization, towards the Democratic Party and towards the Republican Party? It's not even a contest. 99.73% in 2022, 98.47% in 2020, and 96.38% in 2018. This company is actually going more woke, if you ask me, just by looking at the contributions. Anyway, these are all before all the firings and other things happened. So we don't know how this is going to change when 2024 comes along. But there was another story running out. At that point of time, the Trump administration was still in place. There was a spokesperson called Kayleigh McEnany, and she was locked out of her account by Twitter for just saying that story and first-hand reporting that has been reported by other outlets and not disputed by the Biden campaign. See, this is the problem. She was locked out just for mentioning the post. That is, that there was a post existing in New York Post about the Hunter Biden laptop. The mere mention of that got her account locked out. Now, she was the spokesperson for the White House, for the Trump administration, and you locked her out? I don't know how long it took before it came back, but this is from Mike Hahn, who is the Trump campaign staffer, and he is furious because he has his contact in Twitter. Her name is Caroline Strom, and he says there, I need an answer immediately on when/how she will be unlocked. I also don't appreciate how nobody on this team called me regarding the news that you will be censoring news articles. After all, as far as he was concerned, this was just a news article. Like I said, at least pretend to care for the next 20 days, because this was on October 14th. November 8th was the election, right? So he was pretty incensed. He was steaming at this point. Now, what happens? Caroline Strom, she is the Twitter public policy executive, and she sends out a polite WTF, you know what WTF means, to the employees in Twitter. And she says, hi team, are you able to take a closer look here? Thank you. Strom's note returned the answer that the laptop story had been removed for violation of the company's hacked materials policy. See, this is the first time you are getting information about a hacked materials policy. So somebody reacts to her, Elaine Ong Soto. She says, hi Caroline, thanks for reaching out to us. For checking, the user was bounced by site integrity for violating our hacked materials policy. Adding them here for further insights and guidance. Now, look at it closely. This particular policy was deleted by Twitter afterwards, because the author here, this is the thread that also I have given a link to, and it reads best using thread reader. So I've given you with the thread reader enabled, so it's easy for you to just read it like a story. Anyway, so he unearthed it from archive.org, which means Twitter deleted it from their site and they had to go to the archival site to get it. A lot of small things that they try to cover their rears. Anyway, so by this time, I'm jumping some points here. I'm coming to the crux of the matter. You can see the confusion in the following lengthy exchange, which ends up including Gadde and former trust and safety chief Yoel Roth. Remember, I talked about Yoel Roth yesterday. Comms official Trenton Kennedy writes, I am struggling to understand the policy basis for marking this as unsafe. This font may be a little small for you to read. So I urge you, again, all the users to go through and completely look at all the links, understand the import of it. I am not a betting man, but if I were, I would say that Vijaya Gadde is in deep trouble, because there is enough evidence here that points to perhaps some arbitrariness. And again, there is more data in that thread that seems to suggest that the CEO, Jack, did not know what some of the things were being done in Twitter in San Francisco. Remember, he was running two companies, Square in East Coast and Twitter on the West Coast. And at the time this story broke out, he was actually in Indonesia. But you can't give all these excuses. You are the CEO, the buck stops with you. So Jack is also in trouble, but how, who, what, how much, all these things are questions that will need to be answered. In fact, if you go through that thread and continue reading, there is a point where Ro Khanna from the Democratic Party gently tells Vijaya Gadde, maybe you need to come here and explain some of these things, because he understood that this was violation perhaps of free speech. So a lot of things happening. This is just one in a series of revelations that are going to happen. I'm just giving you an update. The thing that most people have not probably done is the connection that Sagar Enjeti did. And that is in itself a separate thread. So do take a look at that. I'm sure he'll be putting out some video posts also. But most importantly, this is a huge deal. And I think we have to see whether this is going to bring about some permanent changes in the way the social media companies are going to be regulated by the government of the United States. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. Namaskar.